Morning, Corey.
Morning, Ron.
How are you doing? Oh, I was going to ask how you're doing.
We just talked about that.
Yeah, we sure did, because I don't really want to know how you're doing. Yeah, I do. I care about you, Corey. Anyway, I think we better get to our topic.
Okay, let's do it then.
I think we're going to talk about fun. That sound like a
Fun.
good topic? Fun at work.
What's that look like?
Well, that's the point. I was, when I was consulting at this place, I was doing all this training, and the team was kind of going along with all these Ronisms and things, and one day I brought up about, we should have fun at work, and the HR person looked at me like, well, we have the company picnic and the Christmas party, and we have a barbecue every month, and I'm going, whoa, time out. That's not what I'm talking about. And I really realized I had to show them, almost draw them the picture of what fun looks like at work.
You like your pictures?
Well, my pictures. But I actually wrote it out this time. I could have drawn it out, but because everybody around the table is looking at me quizzically like, well, Ron, that's why it's called work. It's work.
I'm supposed to have fun while you work.
Yeah, that was kind of that's in a way that's kind of how I was brought up. Be irresponsible. You go to work like it was drudgery. And so we started discussing. I said, no, really, think about what floats your boat or turns you on and when you're actually working. What is it that is fun to you? And then they almost had some fun going around the room coming up with examples.
People generally want to work.
Yeah.
Right? Because the work gives them that sense of purpose.
Exactly.
And when you have that sense of purpose, you find enjoyment in the things that you do.
Yeah.
And when you don't have that purpose, when you don't have that sense of enjoyment, nothing you do can be fun.
No.
But when you have it, now what most people would call work actually has enjoyment. It has fun in it.
Right.
That's why you always hear all these, I don't want to call them gurus, but all these other people who will sit back and say, if you do something that you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah. And it's kind of like an old hippie saying, but I like those kind of sayings. It's true that you're not working, that old mindset about what work was. And I think many times work can look like drudgery. I was at a workshop one time with this guy he was called Charles Hughes, and he really was to me a guru because he understood the world of work. And they were at this steel mill, and this manager, and he walked over to, I guess you could look down and see the smelting area of whatever it was, and they see this guy with a shovel, and I don't know what he's doing, shoveling smelt, something like that, into a pit, and sweat's coming down his brow, and the manager says to Charles Hughes, he said, I'd hate to be that guy. I mean, that work has got to be awful. And Hughes looks at him and say, you don't know that. To you, that looks awful. That guy might be having fun figuring out how many shovelfuls he can pour in there in a day. He might have a personal challenge to do that.
Yeah, made it a game. Yeah.
He makes things a game, or he knows that if he doesn't do his job, that it's not that the work's not going to get done, so it's meaningful to him. You can't make assumptions about what other people like and don't like or having fun at what they do. And the manager walked away going, oh, I never looked at it that way. You see, that's a manager that should know that about.
He should know why.
Should know why.
Yeah.
And he's managing people, and everybody looks at the world differently. Everybody has different experiences. So I've done the same thing. I walk into an accounting department and said, how can people stand to be sitting there putting numbers in boxes all day long? And then I've talked to some of them, and there are a lot of them that enjoy it.
Yeah.
They're balancing numbers. That's a big thing to them.
It's the way they're wired. To them, that's enjoyment.
Exactly. So another example, I remember I worked early on. I worked in this large human resource department, and I was sitting out there on the floor, and there was benefits workers worked on our insurance programs and pensions and all that, and then I was working in the compensation area, and then the recruiters were over here, and there was a lot of camaraderie with the people on the floor. And then the managers, typical old setup, the managers were in offices right over their people, you know.
Yep.
I'll never forget Nancy Richmond calling me in and went into her office. And I didn't report to her, but she said, "You have a lot of influence out there, Ron. You've got to make sure those people aren't laughing and having fun like that. They're supposed to be working."
Wow.
I looked her in the eyeball and said, "Nancy, I don't think you get it. If you walk out there with me, those people are even working harder out there. Yeah, they're talking, but they're talking about work most of the time. They're saying, oh, you know, I can't get this insurance equation," and people laugh and say, "Yeah, it's a bummer, but you know, there's a calculation over here you can use," and they'd be smiling and laughing about it. I said, your people specifically are having a lot of fun and they get a lot done. I know that. You're right, I am sitting out there observing, and I don't know if I ever convinced her. Because she had that belief system that said, like we first started out with, work must be hard.
It's what's called work. Right?
Yeah.
It's not, you're not supposed to find enjoyment in it. You're just supposed to get it done.
Right.
I'm measuring results, but I
Exactly.
think in order to get results, to get better results, I have to make it uncomfortable.
Right.
For some reason,
Yeah.
let's make life uncomfortable, because everybody works better when they're uncomfortable.
Because I do. Maybe that's so, but I didn't
Yeah.
believe. I think Nancy had fun in her own ways, you know.
Some people have fun torturing other people.
Yeah, exactly.
It's-
I think that was her fun. But anyway, you know, it's just I think I started getting my idea about having fun at work from that experience, and then I would notice in other situations that usually when people love their job, they were having fun. You know, if they really liked what they did, and I think I've told you about my father before, who was a speech and drama teacher.
Uh-huh.
That guy couldn't wait to get out of bed. And you know, and I also think I told you, I'm always reminding you, tell me if I've told you this before, but he had this theater, was called the Little Theater, because it was little. And most people that came in from the outside, in the trade, or other directors, I guess,
Yeah.
would walk into that and say, "How do you put a play out in here?" And he'd look at them like, "What are you talking about?" That was his little playhouse. And he had the sets built the way he wanted, and he loved his job.
He didn't need it to be a big, elaborate, full-size, full Broadway production.
He didn't. And I think because of that, he actually did a better job, because he knew he had not much to work with. He got even more creative. And I'm just wondering right now about doing our job here today, if that
I know.
blower over there is going to interrupt it. I'm not having fun when I hear that blower. You know, hopefully when this pandemic gets over, we don't have to keep filming in the park.
It's nice being out here.
It is, though.
But yeah, that's definitely a distraction.
Yeah. So
Can't be perfect though.
No, you know, well, I'd be like my dad. He knew it wasn't perfect, so he worked around it. He made things happen. Anyway, he had fun. And you don't have to have it perfect. You know, I think, what is it? We keep bringing up these old phrases. Necessity is the mother of invention.
Yep.
And actually creating something like that out of not much is also fun, or certainly can be fun.
Seeing the results.
Right.
Yeah.
And your contribution to making that happen is fun.
Absolutely. We've had lots of experiences. Everybody has. And when you go back and think about when you're working on a project, whether it be at work or whether it be outside in something else that you're doing, knowing what you're working towards that goal can help make it enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that the end result of this is whatever it's going to be.
Right.
I think we talked about this previously. What we used to do for the fighter wings is they would go, and not everybody gets to travel and go see all the glamour and the glitz of the jets going somewhere and doing everything that they do. A lot of people stayed back. It takes a lot of people to support one aircraft, and so they would go and they would do these big events, and they're like, oh, pilots have got to have it's so much fun. So they would bring back videos of what they were doing, of all the target ranges, of them shooting things and blowing things up, and they would bring everybody in and they'd make a point to show everybody, this is what we're working towards.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what we're doing, to bring up that that why, to make it enjoyable, right?
Right.
Because there even are times in everybody's work life, personal life, and everything where a task is not motivating, but the goal is what should be pushing us
right.
through those times, realizing that yes, okay, maybe I don't want to necessarily be out here pushing this broom right now, but the reason why I'm pushing the broom is the exciting part of what we're doing. And I've got times like that where it's going to be like, okay, do I really want to sit here and deal with accounting and bookkeeping and try to figure all this stuff out, or do I want to be talking to people and doing what I really enjoy doing? And there are times when it's like, well, in order for me to be able to go out and talk to those people, I still need to be able to do this as well.
Yeah, it's part of the whole.
Yep.
You talk about pushing a broom. I remember walking through a warehouse, and very, very early in the morning, and there's one guy, his whole job was to make sure that floor was totally clean before the day started. And there was rarely anybody else around except this one guy. And I'm pretty early everywhere I go, and I'd be at work early, and I'd walk out there in the warehouse. So when I saw him, the first day I saw him, I said, and I think I remember his name, Bob or something. I said, hey Bob, you know how cool your job is? And he's looking at me like,
all right, wacko.
Guy with a tie walking through here, that tie must be cutting off some circulation. What is he talking about? And it's funny because usually they get wary, like, oh, what does this guy want? Is he spying on me coming in this early in the morning?
Is he trying to convince me to do something I don't want to do?
Yeah, I want to do. And I said, no. I said, I really, later on in the day, I say how this warehouse gets so messy because people are rushing around doing their job, and it was not part of their routine to clean up after them. They're getting paid to get the stuff on the shelves, off the shelves. And I said, you play a key role in all this by doing this. I said, I don't know if you really realize that. And he said, well, no, I never thought about it before. I don't know how long you've been doing this. And I said, no, I think it's crucial. You are an important part of this team. Well, every time I saw him after that, he had a big smile on his face. I think I instilled a little bit of fun in his job.
And that's what it looks like.
And that's what it looks like. And I think he probably pushed that broom with a little bit more enthusiasm, knowing that he was. And I wasn't just smoking him to make him feel good, and I meant it. A lot of people don't realize the contribution they make. They could be the person that goes in and turns on the lights in the morning. Well, the place is not going to get going unless all those lights are on or that power generator is going. Everybody plays a key role, and that can be part of the fun. A lot of times, just how you look at your job, just the perception of it can change how you feel about it.
Uh-huh.
So fun is I think is always a possibility, even in that work. And I was trying to think of a way to turn that accounting thing into fun. As I think you're basically, there are things I don't want to do, but I take it back to mowing the lawn. You know, like I don't really like mowing the lawn, but I sure like going out there in the afternoon and seeing the results.
I don't like mowing either, and I really don't like doing it in the heat. I don't
Right,
like being in the heat.
Yeah.
But what I do enjoy is the time it is away from something else. So to me, mowing is an opportunity for me not to be focusing or stressing on anything. I'm working on this task, and it's an opportunity for my mind to be differently. And when I can slow down and be in those states, great things can be thought of.
No, that's right. That's right.
It's why when you hear people talk about, I do my best thinking in the shower and I do my best thinking in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Right? It's because you're not engaged
That's right.
in the thing that you're thinking about.
Right.
And so sometimes doing those tasks.
It's really a meditative state.
Yep.
You really are. I think your brain chemistry is even different when you're in those situations. So, good. You saved that one. I feel much better about. I'm going to look at mowing the lawn a little differently from now on.
Absolutely.
But
and you know, it's you talk about how our environments affect us, and there's only one thing that you can truly control, and that's your response to the environment. Right. And if the environment has you feeling bad, if it has you upset, if it has you feeling, you know, I hate this job, well, that's you thinking that you hate this job. That's not the job making you hate it.
No.
That's your response, which you can control.
Right, right. And a lot of that, I hate this job, can really be a lot of other things.
It's not the job.
Not the job. It could be that you dislike some part of the environment, the company, or you're not fitting well into the job, so you hate it. You know, I see a lot of people do that. There's crummy job. I thought, well, it's probably crummy to you because you're not doing well in it. But back to our topic, that's not fun. But even then, though, you're right. You could turn that into fun. Because I've actually done that with like projects that I don't want to do. And the first thing I do is I say, I'm just going to do this little piece of it. And many times, almost every time, when I'm starting to work on that little piece of it, I get excited that, wait a minute, I was kind of putting this off, but you know, I can do this with this, and I accomplished that pretty quickly once I got onto it. So I can turn that project into a fun thing just by, you know, what's that about? How do you eat an elephant one bite at a time?
One bite at a time,
right?
yep.
That one, boy, coming up with a lot of corny cliches here this morning.
That's all right. I use that one. So we're
Do
not
you?
Gonna, yeah,
Okay.
We're not
Okay.
gonna
So
call
that
it
little
funny.
chunk, you know, you eat that chunk and go, oh, that went down pretty easily actually, and I can do the next one, and then I can usually I can turn it into a game. You know, well, how much can I accomplish today? If I could do that in half an hour, maybe I can complete it by the end of the day. I don't know, or at least by the end of the week. So I think having fun at work, and I'm glad you brought it back to me, is that I'm responsible for making things fun. The things I can control. I can make my work fun to me. I can build different relationships at work to make it fun. I was thinking about this the other day about all the relationships that I had fun with at work.
I've had a lot of good
You
ones.
know,
And it can make a huge difference.
it does.
You look forward to, this was always one of the things that just, I don't want to say it amazed me. So I was a traveling salesman, we'll call it. So I always had to travel because I was responsible for the whole country. And so I was constantly traveling.
Wow.
And a lot of people are like, oh, you're so lucky. It's like,
Oh no.
no.
No, no, no.
You are comparing that to your experience going to a hotel
Right.
for like a week.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's go to a hotel for a week and then be home for a week and then be gone for a week and then be home for a week and then be gone for a week or be gone for 2 weeks and be going from city to city to city. That's not fun. Eating out every night. Oh, that's got to be good. No,
No.
that's not. You're generally alone and you're eating out. You're not comfortable, right? I enjoy the fact when I'm home and I'm eating at home, I can be comfortable, right? If I'm going out to eat, especially if I'm on a business call, you've got to be dressed. You've got to continue that state
doing the show.
from sun up to sundown, and it's very taxing and it's very rough, and you'll get that. It must be great to be you. It's like, no, it's not. And the relationships we had, it got to the point where I would enjoy those trips because of who I was going with.
Right.
And I've also been on trips where I didn't like who I was with, and you're like, I just want this trip to be done. I just want to be done with this and be back and be out of this environment. And you still have to find ways. It's like, oh, okay, I'm here to do a job. I love what I do. How can I separate that negativity from what I'm trying to do? How can I stay positive? And because that's the only thing I can control is my response.
Yeah, you're so right. I was laughing because that my wife would give me that. Oh, you're so lucky. You know, it's like, lucky about what? Going to that? I mean, the hotel room is the same hotel room everywhere I go. I mean, I'm not at 5-star resort setting.
Right.
You know.
Yep.
And same freeways with the green side, same hotel conference rooms, but the fun to me was visiting that customer and building those relationships with the customer and traveling with somebody. I really found out in the world of human resources that my best bet on winning a manager over was a road trip. Typically, it'd be like an engineering manager who would have the same disdain for the HR function that most people have. And no, I don't want to hire the guy. Well, you should. You know, those same conversations where you're always the conscience trying to the engineering manager, and the engineering manager believes you don't understand his technical aspect of his job and all that. But I'll tell you, every road trip I had with an engineering manager worked out that we became best buds. It was an awesome opportunity to build a relationship because you are traveling. It's not exactly like, what's that movie with John Candy and who is his counterpart in boats and trains and automobiles?
Planes, trains, and automobiles.
Yeah, you know, that thing where, but if you're on those road trips, you can truly build relationships. And you know, I swear and they were fun. It was a fun challenge to win that person over, and it really didn't have to try hard. We both got to know each other personally, not just work. And we built that relationship, and that was fun. And when we came back, Corey, we were friends forever. He'd just walk in my office and say, I know I should hire that person. You're right. I mean, we had that instant understanding after that.
When you get to take people on vacations, their mindset is immediately changed from the first step. I mean, if your job is not to travel, when you get an opportunity to do it, and somebody else is paying for it,
yeah, well, that's part of it too.
It's a whole. Generally, there are some of those who were just truly introverted and who don't want to do it, or have a fear of traveling. The mindset is completely different. Sometimes a week before the trip even starts, because it's like, oh, I get to go, I get to go do something, I get to be a part of something. I
Yeah.
get to see. Everybody loves it when sales guys comes into town,
Right.
because they know that there's a level of energy that comes with them.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go on a trip with them, it's like, I get to live the good life, because that's what they see the salespeople having. It's
Right.
like, oh, you were here and you did this. No, you were here and you did this, and you went and saw that. I used to bring back pictures of all the military bases that I would go to. I remember one time I took one of the bosses with me to a military base, and I've got a lot of experience on military bases. And so we were talking about how we could solve this problem, how we could do this and how we could do that. And we started talking about flight simulators. Well, they let us go and fly flight simulators. So, I mean, that's an experience that wouldn't have happened if we
Right.
hadn't have been out on the road together and hadn't been in that environment.
Yeah.
I have flown lots of flight simulators over the years. It's been a lot of fun.
Where did they
will
go? Some of those flights.
say. Most of them were over the Mojave Desert.
Okay. Very picturesque.
Yep, very bold looking and very brown.
Yeah, I bet. No, I think we've covered a lot of ground here today, as usual. Speaking of the ground, and there's many ways for all of us to find enjoyment and fun out of our work, and help others find enjoyment out of their work. And
Question is do they know what it looks like?
do they know what it looks like? I think we painted a pretty good picture here today about what it looks like.
Hope so.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So thank you to those of you who are watching us live, and thank you to those who are watching us as a recording. As always, leave comments, questions, concerns, or anything positive down below. If you have stories of what it looks like to you, please share so everybody can see what it really looks like. You're Ron.
I am Ron. And you're Corey, I bet.
I am. At least I think I am today.
And I think we had fun today.
We did.
That's what it looks like.
This is what it looks like.
Yeah.
And we will see you all next time.